Hello and welcome to Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between podcast. I am your host, Kendra Rinaldi, and today I am doing a quick, short episode, but of a topic that I feel is extremely important, and that is how to support teenagers when they are grieving, particularly as a parent. So, as some of you may know, I am a mother of two teenagers. At this time, they are 18 and almost 17. And they themselves have already experienced their share of grief, particularly with when they were younger, with the death of my mom, who died almost 9 years ago. So they were young, they were kids. My son was 11 at that time. So they um they weren't teenagers yet. And kids have a whole other way of how it is that you can support them in their grief. But I want to talk again, particularly with teenagers, just because they're that age and some of their friends have already experienced a lot of loss themselves already. And even just the way that my own kids support their friends when they're grieving is something I've observed, but also just in conversation with other parents, particularly other mothers who are supporting their teenagers when they're grieving. So I want to talk about that. And with grief, as we know, it is something that is not linear. Your child is not going to have a set of emotions or a no in a specific order or anything like that that's going to happen. Their grief can show up at any particular time, just like it does with us. And therefore, it is important to be able to be patient as well as caring and understanding, and to know that the expression of that grief may show up differently depending on your child and depending on where they're at that moment. So, something that I think is super important is one, for your child to feel that they have uh they have this support. They have an emotional safety support, that they do not feel pressured. So just being present with them, literally, like it could just be sitting with them and maybe even saying something like, no pressure to talk, but just letting you know I'm here anytime, gives them that space and that permission. Just knowing that they're able to reach out to you if they need it. Something that's important to highlight is that we should not talk about like these platitudes, avoiding these platitudes. Things like everything happens for a reason, they're in a better place. Those things are not helpful. Those phrases that we may think are helpful because it's giving our child some sense of hope, it is not at that moment helpful. It is better to even say we don't know even what to say. I wish I had the right words to say, or I I really am at a loss for words because this really sucks. This is so painful and it's just so big, and I really do not have any words that can express how you may be even feeling or even what to say. So, making sure that we keep it real and not adding any of these silver lining phrases is important. Also, making sure that our child has other people around them that have gone through the similar loss, and other people that are their same age, that they're able to connect with and have that sense of community is extremely important. Recently, somebody that I knew, their teenager had a friend that died, and the teenager was able to get together and talk with other teenagers that were also friends with this person, and therefore they are able to share memories and really bond in that way. I believe that's extremely important. So that's one of the things. Another thing too is offer consistency and offer, like, be there, not just the week or the month or the 3 months. Grief will show up at it could show up years later. So just making sure that you are doing check-ins ever so often with your child as to how it is they're doing is important as well. So those are some of the tips that I can offer, and making sure that you also recognize that they may not talk about their emotions with you, and that is okay. The reality is that a lot of what our relationship looks like with our kids is not necessarily going to change in that moment that they are experiencing a loss. So if our child doesn't tend to come to us often to share about their what has happened, let's say at school, or if they've had a fight with a friend, then we also have to be aware that they may not share every single emotion that's showing up for them when they're experiencing a death. So being able to respect that, yet at the same time, again, offering to be there for them. I feel like holding space for someone when they're grieving, just literally just being there, cooking their favorite meal. It really is not always about the words, it's really about the actions. So, how do we show them our love and our support in these moments in which they may be going through a significant loss? Is an incredible way that as parents or as adults around other teenagers that we can do to be able to support them while they're grieving. When you notice that maybe there are some signs that may be like intense and of withdrawal, or if by any chance you do see that there is persistent kind of feelings of hopelessness, it is important to make sure to know that there is always the option of offering counseling and professional support for your child. That is extremely important to remember. We cannot be the everything to our child, and knowing when it is important to seek for that support. It could even be something that you even offer at the beginning of their grief journey as well. So those are just a few tips. I'd love to hear insights from any of you listeners as to how it is you have supported your teenagers in their own grief journeys. And if you are a teenager and are listening to this, please share as well. Please feel free to email griefgratitudepodcast@gmail.com and share some of your thoughts as to how it is you feel you have been supported in your grief journey in the past. And if you have any questions, always reach out as well. Thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for other short and meaningful podcast episodes along the way.